The JF-17 Thunder, due to release on December 4th, is the first full-fidelity module by the team at Decca Ironwork Simulations, a plucky little export fighter created in joint effort by China and Pakistan. Able to reach Mach 1.6, it's got a strange heritage, the engine of a MiG-29, cannon from MiG-21, avionics and HOTAS design from an F-16. Intended to be easy for Pakistan's F-16 pilots to convert over to and costing half as much as an F-16 to build. The Thunder sits in an odd position, not a traditional Blue 4 or Red 4 aircraft. No doubt we will see it on the role of Red 4 however in DCS, helping give the side a much needed new full fidelity aircraft. The JF-17 Thunder packs a huge amount of content and systems into its small package, and best of all of the major aircraft systems appear to be modelled to a high degree of completion. There are smaller details missing, but it is mostly there. Boasting the first full glass cockpit that we've seen in DCS, you get 3 large multifunction colour displays dominating the cockpit, each split into a main and sub display. We have a massive suite of weapons and sensors to play with too, making it a truly modern multi-role aircraft, featuring missile approach warning systems, air and ground radar, targeting pod, self-protection jammer with radiation slant ranging, and on top of that we have a wide range of weapons, stun bombs, rockets, anti-ship missiles, man-in-the-loop guided cruise missiles, TV missiles, anti-radiation missiles, glide bombs, laser-guided bombs, and laser-guided rockets. For air-to-air we have SD-10 active radar missiles, a Chinese equivalent to the AIM-120, and the PL-5E, a heat seeker similar to the AIM-9. So, needless to say, there is a tremendous amount of capabilities and learning to do in this module. We'll get only 2 liveries for release, and the cockpit textures are a work in progress at present. They hope to have an update to them by release. But with all the systems modelled, it's easy to forgive some of the cosmetic issues, and it's a refreshing change to see the module launch in such a complete condition. It is still an early access release, not a full release, so there will be some bugs and issues with the aircraft still. I've run into a few issues with my time testing it, but of course I'm using a development build so I cannot speak for how it will be on launch day. But the Decca team have been working very hard on addressing reported issues, and I'm feeling good for the release. I've thoroughly enjoyed learning and fighting in the Thunder. The cockpit and startup feature some fun details. You can, for example, remove the safety pin on the ejector seat, connect the oxygen supply and adjust the oxygen valve, of which failure to adjust this at high altitudes can result in hypoxia. There is a lamp you can click on as a shortcut to the DCS flashlight function, and we get a data cartridge. This contains our personalised settings, mission and loadout. The ground crew can be requested to update our card after rearming to include new weapons and waypoints from our map. Up in the special options we can configure our countermeasure programs presets, slew rates, map type, and our cockpit voiceover, of which there are 4 choices. 2 in Chinese,
最大偏航锁定锁定锁定
敌跟踪敌跟踪返场油量起落架未到位
and 2 in English,
altitude, altitude, tracking, tracking, tracking. AOA, bingo, pull up, pull up, pull up.
This is less bitching Betty and more soothing Susie. We can also create custom voice sets if you desire. The data cartridge extends into the mission, giving you the ability to import your special settings, waypoints marked on the map, and set your weapon laser codes with the help of the ground crew, who can update your card when you are done planning, helping work around the lack of a built-in mission planner inside DCS for multiplayer. Generally, the controls are quite intuitive once you get over the initial adjustments, and using systems like the radar in C mode are quick and easy to understand, and managing multiple sensors like the radar and targeting pod at the same time work off a sensor of interest system like our other modules. I've found the cockpit simple to work in and the HUD just perhaps a little busy at times but very functional. HOTAS interaction is mostly good, but you will still have to press on-screen buttons fairly often to change menus. However, changing the master mode automatically configures some preset pages based on the mode, ease of access, which I find very handy. Being a glass cockpit aircraft, we get a lot of real estate to work with on our displays. They're quite nice to use, giving you a customizable instrument panel. In VR with a valve index, they're reasonable to read, although you're left wanting hand tracking to push the buttons. The screens are 3x4 aspect, giving us a submenu below the main section for quick reference. This presents an issue for those of us with existing MFD frames however, being 5x8 buttons versus our standard 5x5. Best I could work around this issue was deliberately cutting off the sub-display section and binding what was visible, which is workable for most tasks. Decca have included an example Lua file within the documents, showing you the export options for those of us into exporting our displays. You can easily export all the displays, the radio, and upfront controller panel, so it's perfect for home cockpit builders. There is an advanced simulation of IFF built into the module, although it's only functional between other JF-17s in multiplayer. This could lead to a complex situation whereby a friendly aircraft could be detected as unknown if they do not correctly set it up, or even hostile aircraft as friendly should your encryption key be compromised. Other aircraft will use the simple coalition-based friend or foe returns. Rather interestingly, I found the SD-10 active radar missile, which is an export variant of the Chinese PL-12, to have a greater range than that of the DCS AIM-120, which is meant to be very similar to. The JF-17 is a very potent, beyond visual range fighter, with the SPJ pod helping range radar threats and the MAWS all giving you increased situational awareness alongside your data link feeding you AWACS contacts. Able to carry up to 2 IR missiles and 4 active radar missiles alongside the jammer pod and 2 fuel tanks. I found this is a great mix, giving you confidence when going into air combat. The biggest limitation of the Thunder is the fuel and pylons, holding only 5,135 pounds of fuel internally, so we will have to constantly play around with our limited payload trading weapons and fuel. Whilst multi-role, the aircraft struggles to be multi-mission, forcing you to either go air-to-air or air-to-ground when you need to travel more than a short distance. There is no air refueling probe either, further limiting it. However, there is a strong possibility of a Block 2 update to the module, which will feature a refueling probe at some point in the future. And whilst I enjoy the limitations as they make mission planning more challenging, I can see this being an issue to some. The man-in-the-loop CM802AGK cruise missile is a favourite weapon, giving you a long-range missile which can follow a flight plan, where you can provide terminal guidance with an onboard camera. For something a little closer and personal though, the BRM-1 laser-guided 90mm rockets are the Thunder's answer to the pylon limitations. And these are awesome. They're 16 rockets in a single pod on a single pylon, with enough punch to knock out an Abrams tank. I think this will probably become the bread and butter of any JF-17 ground attack mission, allowing you to carry significant payload. They're comparable to the Vickers missiles you'll find on the Ka-50 or Sukhoi 25T, making it a really deadly weapon against anything without a radar SAM defense. You could field as many as 64 of these, but you'll run out of fuel long before you can use them all. Defensively, we get only 36 chaff and 32 flares by default, but it does have a trick up its sleeve, the Missile Approach Warning System. This is coupled with the Radar Warning Receiver set. There are sensors able to detect missiles behind our aircraft and will give you information regarding IR and radar missiles to help you evade. The experience with VR has been very positive. I've been using a Valve Index headset and found it easy to read all the text on the displays and HUD, although sometimes I feel the need to zoom in on them for a little extra clarity, especially when searching for targets on the radar or targeting pod. The cockpit feels right, with no obvious scale issues. It works and performs well. VR makes using the center display much easier than on a traditional monitor, although you can hide the joystick if you wish in the special options. The damage model is work in progress, but very promising. We can have weapon pylons fail after impacts, or overstress your fuel tanks with too many Gs, as a couple examples I've encountered, along with more general damage and structural breakups. The aircraft is easy to fly and land, although a little slow to accelerate with heavy payloads. She will burn up fuel at an alarming rate down low, but I've found you can still get a good combat radius with high altitude cruising. She'll dogfight well when clean, and you will really feel the weight if you've got any luggage on, encouraging you to specialise loadouts rather than trying to carry a bit of everything. I'm really impressed with the abilities of this plucky little jet. It is by far the most widely capable aircraft in DCS at this moment in time. Whilst many of the features it has will be coming to other aircraft, none of them are anywhere near as complete a package right now. With that said, I feel the JF-17 still does enough to differentiate itself from these others, and will provide a great challenge to the existing lineup of DCS aircraft. I've enjoyed my time with it thus far. It's great to see a modern jet simulated in such detail, with the glass cockpit and extra systems integrated into it. I look forward to future updates and modules from Decker Ironworks Simulations. If you're looking for a fun, compact, modern fighter with the full width of its abilities already well developed, the JF-17 is a very strong contender and something that will keep you learning and delving deeper into its systems for a good, long time. The JF-17 could be the jet for you. You'll have to make some hard decisions preparing missions balancing flight, range, weapons and systems, with incredible ability but very limited staying power. Prolonged fights are not its style by necessity, and you can think of the JF-17 as somewhere between an F-16 and an F-5 with its own identity and all the advantages of a modern aircraft. It's come as something of a surprise to many, and a very welcome one at that.